Welcome, everybody, to the regular meeting of the Board of Trustees for Tuesday, February 14th. My first cause of action is to do the appointments. So I'm going to announce the appointment of Deborah Bronstein to the Ad hoc Senior Advocacy Committee for a term of 1 year as recommended by the nominating committee. I want to thank Ms. Bronstein for volunteering. We appreciate all the efforts of all our volunteers, and we look forward to her valued contribution. So thank you for that. Let's do a public hearing. There's a public hearing on a site plan approval for 10 Hamilton Street. Patty? Yes.
You want to make a motion to open the hearing?
Is there a motion to open tonight's public hearing? Trustee Patino, second. Trustee Rosenberg, all in favor. Public hearing is here now, open.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Good evening.
I am going to try and open my screen and see if I can show you the presentation. Okay, slideshow. Beginning. Okay. So this is Lombardo's Restaurant, which is down at Rivertown Square. This board has the final responsibility of any decision on site plan because this is in the CP zoning district. You forwarded this to the planning board a number of months ago for their review to make a recommendation to you, and they have now completed that. And I think you have a resolution that says that they are recommending the project for approval. During the review, there were really 3 items that came up that were if you will, primary concern that shaped the project. One was ADA compliance. I'll go into that in a little bit. Stormwater management, and then the aesthetics of the proposed structure. This is a pergola structure, which is a lightweight frame, primarily glass with a retractable roof and retractable walls. In nice weather, it basically is something that can be open, and you can be effectively sitting outside. Some people have asked if this is not heated, not air conditioned, why would you want it? And it's because there's a lot of times during the year that you want to be able to sit in some places not air conditioned, not heated, but nice outdoors. And this extends the usability of their terrace. They have the terrace that's right in front of the restaurant, that's theirs. And they've already been using that for outdoor dining with tents. So this is going to, let's say they would have made it to the end of October. Without this, they ought to be able to make it into, well, in this weather these days, maybe all the way through winter. But it makes those windy days usable. It makes a rainy day in the summer. It makes it usable. And this all came about because of their concerns with COVID, trying to provide a space that would be comfortable for people who are otherwise apprehensive about being in an enclosed area. So I think it has good reasons for being done. And it is something which I think the planning board agreed brings vitality and activity to this area, which is rather drab at times. So I think having this will be a benefit for Rivertown Square. The drawing that is up now is the original site plan that this board of trustees approved. I think it was like 2014. And if I go to the next slide, I think I see, yeah, this is where we're identifying where Lombardo's is and the covered outdoor dining area. While that says 1,149 square feet, that's actually been reduced to accommodate the ADA decision by the code enforcement officer. Just some shots to show you kind of what this looks like right now, or in the summertime with the tent up. It's not very exciting. I don't think it's going to be very exciting, but it'll be maybe just a little bit more exciting. This is, this is the front of Lombardo's, which faces the parking lot. What I think this structure does is it corrects the ridiculousness of having your restaurant face the parking lot instead of the street. It gives you a frontal and energy facing Hamilton Street, which I still think should be Hamilton Avenue. So I think Hamilton Street doesn't sound right, but that's not for tonight's consideration. Just some more shots. I also I went into showing how, right now I'm standing in front of the urgent care Looking back, that factors into the concerns with the ADA compliance and having a path that cuts across the terrace of Lombardo's so that people who are in the parking lot can cross the Lombardo's property to get to the urgent care instead of using the two ADA compliant ramps that would necessitate somebody going down to the sidewalk. So I guess it improves things in some way. These shots just show where those ramps are, how this whole area kind of relates to the sidewalk, and that we've got lots of parking. These just show character of that area. And now we get into the drawings. These are the drawings that were submitted to the planning board for their review, and the drawings that we use as the basis of the recommendation. I don't know that you're going to really want me to go through very much detail on it. How did I know that? So this is the drawing. This is the preferred drawing by the applicant. When we presented this, the code enforcement officer said that he wanted us to provide a path on their property so that so somebody in the parking lot could get to the urgent care without using the ramps. So we revised the design, shrinking the width of it from 20 feet to 16 feet. It makes it kind of tight for the facility, but I think it can still work. And what this does, this drawing just shows you that there's a bunch of different ways you can get around there. So we're not creating any kind of a, locked-in area or someplace.
Is that drawing in the packet? That drawing's not in the packet, is it? No.
Oh, it should have been.
Sorry,
I just took what we submitted to the planning board and resubmitted it. And then these are drawings. These drawings are kind of renderings that are done. A lot of these drawings are not done by us. These drawings are done by the designer of this system, the owner, the engineer who invented this pergola system.
Is this Structure X? Who makes this?
This is by Pergola. The name of the company is Pergola, and they've done a bunch of these. They tend to be on fairly high-end places. Lots of them on Long Island and New Jersey, not that many of them yet in Westchester, but
They're
they're
nice.
eager to get here.
Yeah, they're nice systems.
Yeah. What's nice about it, I think, is that it pretty well disappears a lot of the time when it's being used. And even when it's, closed up, it's still very transparent with glass.
So Patty, right there in that picture, you're going to have a ADA compliant, people are going to walk there.
Right alongside that, that's a 4 foot wide. We're allowed narrower, but I didn't want to get into.
What's on the drawings is 3.6.
Right, it actually measures 4 feet.
Okay, so that's a 4-foot path.
We're showing that it's 3'6" is what's required, and 36 inches is the passage we need to have, but
Yeah, but over a certain length, you have to have you
And we
can't
don't
be
hit
just
that length.
36. What's your overall length?
I think it's like 80 feet.
And then between the planter, I'm on A 2.2.
Okay,
Between the planter and the structure, you got 4.4. You can get your turn there. I don't
Yep.
have, so you don't need 5 there.
right.
Okay.
I mean, what we've actually, just so you understand, we have dimensions on there which are the required dimensions.
Great,
The
okay.
dimensions all exceed what we're showing on the drawing.
All right.
That is actually a little bit more than 5 feet. This is showing how the roof retracts, which is kind of cool. One of the other concerns, this just shows the colors that we're using, which work well with the colors of the existing building. These are details that were provided by the manufacturer showing how the water gets managed on this, which is actually pretty cool. The vertical components are the effect of downspouts. The roof collects the water. It puts it into the beams, which are the gutters that takes to the downspouts. And then this weeps out for the full length of the bottom.
I think this is too much detail for us.
It's interesting.
I know, but we also,
Well, it was one of the
we want to argue about parking. Let's be real. Come on.
Okay, this is one of the concerns that came up to make sure that we weren't concentrating flows and
I'm
whatnot.
very familiar with these. I know how they work. They're great.
You should have been on the planning board.
Yeah, what do we know about spouting?
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting.
Sorry. All right.
I think
all right,
it's
I'm-
cool,
I'm
but I'd like
overruled.
to
The
know.
rest of it wasn't as interesting to me as that part was.
Just so we're clear, that's the coloring, that's the color?
Yes, it's the same aluminum that's on the building for their windows is the metal color. The underside of the ceiling, which you actually see from the street because this is raised up a little bit, it matches the color of the stucco. on the building, so it feels like it's all kind of part of that. So the idea is that it's kind of something that looks like it belongs in this rather abysmal, bland environment that somehow got rid of all the detailing ideas that we had for the design.
Okay.
But that was done by others, not us. I don't know if there's really anything, I mean, I do have some shots that show some other facilities that they've done. So this is kind of like, and we are trying to get the river. If we can get the sawmill to flood enough, we'd have the benefits of that. But
Get a lot more diners that way.
I don't think we need to see pictures of
Yeah.
so, okay.
yep. So that's pretty much what we've done. And if you have any questions,
Any questions?
So is it just covering like where they had the tables out for outdoor dining, but now there's a structure
the
there?
area
Or was
that
it-
we had for the tables was bigger. We were using the entire area before
Right,
for the tables.
right.
But the concern was that somebody right now could park their car up in the parking area, and they could want to get to urgent care, and they could right now, if that's outdoor dining, walk through that. And if we put the structure up, we would be preventing them from being able to do it. We argued that there is a perfectly good ADA compliant path that goes from one to the other. You don't have to have more than one. The code enforcement officer was very specific, said this is what he wants. When I called ADA, they said the way it works is the code enforcement officer is the guy who makes the decision. They, because they only administrate a law, not a code, don't have any say in this with this say.
Anything else?
Could you
Anybody?
stop sharing your screen?
Hmm?
Could you stop sharing your screen?
Why?
Is there anybody from the
We have to
public,
control it.
anybody from the public have any, raising their hand? No?
Larry,
Larry?
you're muted.
I have no questions or comments.
Thank you.
Is there a motion to close the public hearing? Trustee Rosenasher, second. Trustee Patino, all in favor? Public hearing is now closed. Thank you, Patty.
Thank you.
Next is a presentation by BST.
We,
A very,
Are you closing the public
I
hearing?
did,
there's a resolution.
yeah, I'm gonna put that with the resolutions.
If you loved it before, you're gonna love it again. We'll do the super quick version. We'll get right into the required communications. So just before we do those, though, we'll just say that we had a very successful audit. BST issued unmodified opinions on your basic financial statements, no internal control deficiencies, no major noncompliance. And earlier I pointed out the fact that there were no recorded audit adjustments made to the original trial balance supplied to BST. Maybe 2, 3 out of my 100 municipal clients can claim that. So it puts you in pretty good company as it relates to financial reporting. Again, just to reiterate, those required communications, accounting policies were appropriate in the circumstances. They were reasonable and compliant with US GAAP. No significant changes in those policies. No significant or unusual transactions that we will report to you. No disagreements with management, no significant issues discussed, and we did not encounter any significant difficulties. Again, it was a very successful audit. We appreciate the cooperation of the finance department. And as always, if there's questions, feel free to contact me at any point, whether that be now, tomorrow, down the line. We're always available to discuss with you those charged with governance. So, and we appreciate the professional relationship we've had with you folks.
Thank you for all that you've done, and we appreciate your presentation, and we appreciate you waiting around for that. We also
problem.
appreciate the fact that Jeff and his team did a great job, represent the village well throughout the state. So thank everyone. Thank you, Jeff. Make sure everyone in your team knows that we appreciate everything that they've done, and I guess we'll see you next year.
Sure. Great.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks, Brendan.
All that talk made me want to go get dinner in Lombardo.
They're open.
Okay, let's now go to the parking. Want to bring the chief in?
Can we start with the sort of critical items and sort of get a consensus on those so that one, and then we can sort of branch out into
Sure. What do you consider
Well, Matt had these 3 items that were sort of important to
We're
get
the
on.
chief, we're the chief. Oh, okay.
Those, you had 2 or 3 items that you highlighted in your email.
Yeah,
It was,
let me just bring that up here.
because I think those are about,
Yeah, so there were a couple of things, when I was starting to put together a brochure, sometimes, like, when you get into the details, you realize that, you know, a couple of the pieces of the puzzle don't quite fit together. So we had, number one is, we had decided that, you know, in some parts of, in one zone, it was a 2-hour maximum, and you couldn't extend. In another zone, it was 3 hours maximum, and you couldn't extend. But what does can't extend mean? Does that mean till tomorrow? Or does that mean after a, you know, a period? And if after a period, what is that period? Margaret, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, spoke to Park Mobile. The best practice there is 1 hour. So if you park on you know, Main Street, say, for the full 2 hours of a maximum parking session, you have to go somewhere else for at least an hour before you can park in that zone again. So that's the recommendation there. I think we should probably do these one at a time, so
I think that's good, so you have lunch and then you go for dinner, you can
you can come back.
come back.
Exactly.
You know, yeah.
Shari, how
I
do you?
have a question. So I understand exactly how that would work on the app, because let's say you did it and it wouldn't let you do it again. But at the kiosk.
Same.
It wouldn't let you, if you paid differently, like how would they know? Is it they know because you're putting in your license plate?
It's the license
Okay.
plate. It's the same basic database, I believe, that it's all
So the
going into.
kiosks also go by license plates? Perfect, okay,
Yep.
thank you.
Yeah, there's nothing that
Change
goes by
spots,
space. Okay, so,
Wait, so Nicole, how do you feel about that? 1 hour.
Fine with that.
Larry, how do you feel about that?
I'm fine with that.
Okay, so that's good.
okay. The second thing is, and the chief pointed this out to me, I wasn't even aware, that the commuter spots on High Street and Palisade Street are 12 hours, we knew that, but they don't run 9 AM to 6 PM or 9 AM now to 8 PM. They run 6 to 6,
6 to
right?
6.
5 AM to, okay.
6 a.m.
So, 5 AM, 6 AM.
Whatever.
You know, the earliest commuter needs to be able to start a session before they leave. So let's say it's 5 AM to either 6 PM or maybe 8 PM, since that would be consistent. Either way, we have to figure out what those hours are for those spots. And they're also currently tagged for Monday to Friday rather than Monday to Saturday. So we have to figure out whether they should remain Monday to Friday or whether they should extend to Saturday as well. Shari says,
Yeah, I mean, personally, I think even if it starts at 6 a.m., if it's a thing where you know the zone and you're gonna put it in, you don't have to be standing there. It's different if you're feeding a meter quarters, then you have to put the quarters in when you're standing there. But if you're going by the app, or you're going by the kiosk, even the kiosk won't start until the parking actually starts. You know what I'm saying? Like when
right?
it's like when you go to a kiosk and if the parking's gonna end, it tells you what the maximum is, but if you get there before it starts, it's still gonna just start.
Do we know that?
Asked the chief that question this morning,
Uh-huh.
and he said it won't let put it in until the time starts.
Right, but what I'm saying is if you use the app, it's a good reason for someone to use the app, because if they know they're parked in zone 1, 2, 3, 4, they could do it from the train if they
Right.
get on before 6.
There is though the highly likely scenario where people forget to do it once they get involved in the things they do on the train,
Right.
but
Right, but I'm saying, so, but I don't think it should go past 6 PM, so, and I don't think it should be on the weekends, because they're commuter spots, and I think it opens it up to people going down and using the parks and the waterfront and letting them in the park there, and it's a very steep hill, and so the more you can get to where you're gonna go, so that would be my opinion for those spots. just keep them commuter, meaning Monday to Friday.
The other, let me just as a conversation point, devil's advocate, on the weekends, there's a lot of activity at Memorial Park in the nice weather. So is there a concern that those parking spots, if they're not, if there's no enforcement of time limits on the weekends, that they would just clog and nobody would be able to park down at the Little League game?
I mean, if you're there for the day, you're there for the day, but I also think people live down there too that use some of those spots. I don't know, I don't think, if they are commuter spots, then that means during a work week.
I agree.
So to me, I would leave them open, and that's an advantage of, you can go down to the park and you can park right there and unload the kids and go to the spray pad. But
The $2 million one.
Let me ask a question if I could. If with the waterfront lot half empty and the ability for somebody to use Park Mobile to pay and park there hourly on a daily basis, what purpose do these commuter spaces serve?
Well, they're
Why would
cheaper.
anyone park there if they could park in a lot at the waterfront?
Oh,
I think there's still people that are just used to parking there.
It's a good question, but I would just point out that the lot is not half empty anymore. It's 3/4 of the way full,
Yeah.
if you get there after 9.
only on certain weekdays, but yes.
Yeah, okay, maybe it's the week, maybe it's just the days I go, but I notice I'm parking
Yeah,
all
I
the way down
agree.
at the end, because I go in after
I
the rush.
agree, it happened to me too.
So,
Never been there after 9, but, so, okay, that's a point taken.
well, maybe
think
we
it's
should change
important.
professions.
I do think it's important to have those spots there, whether or not, we don't know what the, commuting is gonna be like in,
But if they weren't commuter
6 months, much
spots,
less 6 years.
if they weren't commuter spots, what would they be? Just regular metered spots then?
We can also change them because of the Park Mobile of it. We can change them from 12 hours. It's not like they're blue poles anymore, right? It's, you can
Blue,
change them
brown,
to whatever
red.
makes sense
Right.
to changing
So
circumstances.
based on the current pricing scenario, is it more expensive or less expensive to park for a day in the waterfront lot using Park Mobile, or park in this, like Larry says, if you're, if it costs the same, if it's the same amount of time, same cost, you would park in the lot, obviously, because it's closer.
Well, not everybody who uses the commuter spots, though, is there for the whole 12 hours. So some people may just be there for 2 hours, they might just be there for 3 hours, and maybe that's cheaper then to just use those spots.
They might be going to they might be going to SCAPs, they might be going to affordables, they might, there's other things down there that they might be going to. They might be, because it's also on Palisades, they could be going to the Embassy Center, so.
Right. Right, if you go into the Embassy Center, you're not going to park at the waterfront.
Okay, so we're okay with keeping that commuter only, it's not, I should say, Monday through Friday,
Monday through Friday,
6 o'clock in the morning to 12 hours, right? So 6 to 6?
6 to 6, yes.
Yeah, okay. We got
Okay.
2 things done.
okay, good.
Well, we
Those
got
are the
that.
only two crucial, things.
Okay. Well, I
The
do,
rest are,
Can I
Permit
ask a
related.
question? We got a whole bunch of
Bless you.
emails from people asking about, they live downtown and asking about the ability to park in the
Multiple
lots. It
lots.
sounded very reasonable to me that
Very.
if you're a downtown resident, you should be able to,
Well,
park
that was
in
part of my
anywhere.
question though, like
Yeah.
when it says residents, does that mean Dallas Ferry residents? Is that limited to downtown residents? It was unclear.
Well, as far as the original Central Business District permit, that was only restricted to residents, Main and Cedar. So anybody living off those streets would not be entitled to that permit.
Right, that's why we got that residential permit.
Correct. And that's why within that Central Business District, you have the residents and the merchants. And as a result, that restricts it being open to the entire village, which is why the parking lots, historically, don't get full. We don't have complaints about Oak Street or 112 Main Street full. So that would be the question, is it, by eliminating Central Business District / resident portion, just making a merchant, that would open it up theoretically to whatever the board wishes.
Yeah, I think we're going to wind up taking some time on this, because I certainly hear the need for residents to have a place to park their car, especially when they don't have driveways in that part of town. I think that we need to make a distinction between residents and merchants. And merchants, we should have that merchant-specific permit be 99-seater only, because otherwise, we're going to wind up, oversubscribing the Oak and the Chestnut parking lots.
Okay, let's talk about that, because I think right there, that's a good point. So how do we feel about that, saying the merchants and their employees are limited only to Cedar Street parking lot?
So I'm totally fine with that. So are we saying now that what is the cost?
Well, you could do it,
Right.
you
We
could
should
do it a
talk
different
about
way,
that.
though. You could have, that's the, whatever, and then you could have like an overinflated price if the merchant wants to park,
Right.
buy like a $500-600 permit
Right.
to be the, 2 blocks closer, and there's that argument too.
But the other thing also is that not everybody who works in the businesses in town works full-time, works all the time. So it's not like you could have a flat monthly, if someone comes into work twice a week for, 4 hours a day or whatever, then it's not the same thing as someone who owns a store or a restaurant and is in there every day for, 12 hours. So I think we just have to think about
Well, then they can just pay
what
for
makes sense.
parking.
The employees are different than the owners and,
But I think we were gonna solve that by having the costs, like Richard had this recommendation that a business could bundle, like, if you
Right.
bought 5, you would get like some volume discount, and it'd be.
right, as long as they're like like, they shouldn't be, like, I don't think they should be stickers that go on the car, because I think what a business owner should be able to do is if they do buy 5 or 6, then they give it to the employees when they come in for the day, because you have people working at the restaurants that are only working a few days a week, so they don't need it every single day. They don't need it on a sticker on their car. They could have
Could we do
something they hang
placards?
from the mirror or put in the front, or.
That's fine.
So it's interchangeable, so this way we're not charging,
Right.
twice or 3 times for the same
Other
thing.
municipalities have done
Yeah.
like hangers like in.
Right.
the
Yeah, that's easy. But I think we should, I agree on the 99-seater for the merchants.
Yes.
And then, so we're going to just address them one at a time?
Yeah,
Okay.
so
Yes.
Larry, how do you feel about that?
About the 99-seater or about the placards? I think the
99.
placards makes,
99-seater for merchants only. Merchants only for 99-seater.
I think anything we can do to push people into 99-seater. A couple of board members sent emails today talking about let's create more of a financial incentive for people to go there. And if we can get the for some merchants, I think that's a good thing. I know it's a little less convenient, but the reality is that we need more parking downtown, and that's a way to help make it happen.
Okay, and Nicole, you okay with that? I know you had the incentivized option, but how do you feel about just not having that part of it, just having everybody at 99-seater?
I mean, in theory, I'm okay with it. We'll see how it works in practice. But some of it, and I think we have to figure out the fees.
Right.
Because I think that's important too. And, it's like, it's different for somebody like Sushi Mike's restaurant owner and employees to park at 99-seater is different than people on Lower Main or like where the Bit and the Parlor is, right? Because it's like the location, so.
Right, but there's not an obviously easier parking lot for,
I like my incentive where they pay an excess fee
Oh,
to have
okay.
closer parking if that's how they choose or whatever, but just saying, like, that's the pushback you're gonna get from the business owners is, I'm not saying we don't do it for that reason, but we have to be transparent and open about the critiques we're gonna get.
Okay, let's talk about then the pricing, because I would be willing to even lower the price for the Cedar Street to make it more palatable for those people who have to walk more. So I'm fine with that, or giving more of an incentive to the employers to buy even more passes at a certain price. So I don't know, you want to talk about that, or? Because I do think requiring the residents to buy a pass for Oak Street and for Cedar Street parking, for Village Hall is just too much.
yeah, one
How many
pass.
spots are there? There's 90-something spots?
99-seater?
Yeah.
It's approximately 94, including some of the
That's
spaces along the exterior, yes.
So what's the question? Do we
I was
want to
saying,
have
like,
it?
here we have a suggestion, $150 a year for Cedar Street,
Mm-hmm.
and then $100 a year for additional permits. So, I mean, I could, whatever, I'm willing to do that much less. I think just to have more people, encourage them, say, we know you have to walk, but you're saving a lot of money. So, I mean, how do you feel about the pricing?
Well, I think the idea of bundling them, so if the initial one is $150 or $200, whatever it is, but then the next ones, I would make much less because we want to incentivize them to encourage their employees to park there too. And so whether they're buying them or they're asking the employees, whatever it is, but I still think that most of the employees and most of the businesses that we have are shift workers that are not there that, all the time. So as long as they're transferable, so if a business decides that they're gonna buy, one is their main one and then 4 extras, then maybe they're $50 each or, whatever it is. Because I do think that the reward of getting their cars off of Cedar and Main and into Cedar Street is priceless. Like that
Well-
is gonna be a win.
But think about this, they can't park at Cedar and Main anymore anyway without having to find someplace else for an hour between 2-hour chunks. So we've solved that just through the zones and the time limits and the no meter feeding. So I think that the question about, we've decided that we want merchant stickers to only be at 99 Cedar. I think the question now is simply about the price, and the price there doesn't really depend upon, the idea of trying to move people off of Cedar and Main, because we've already done that. So, $1.50 for the first one, and X for the next 5, and Y for the for the remainder after that. That seems fine for me.
But my kind of point was different, like when I was asking the number of spaces, are like we maxing them out? Like, were we maxing the number of Cedar Street permits? Like, are there infinite Cedar Street permits?
So we don't
Bueller?
really have that many
Well,
businesses.
that's a good question.
No, but I mean, but if you give like 200 permits out, I mean,
Right, but not
arguably,
everyone will be parking there at the same time.
I understand that. I'm just.
Right. So that's the other thing. This is not like residents who are gonna wanna park overnight or, the restaurants have different hours than the stores have different hours
But
than
who
each
else
other.
who else will be able to buy a permit for Cedar Street?
Well, ostensibly any of the residents, right? So if you're a
I want to
resident,
define the residents.
pardon?
I want to define residents.
So I would define it the way it has been, right? You have the downtown residents, however that gets, I don't know,
Those-
whatever
those
streets they have to
streets
be
in
on.
Cedar and Main.
So if they're in,
Communications.
they have a combined Oak and Chestnut lot permit, right? Because we want to combine those and for
Right, but I'm saying,
cleaning.
like, I couldn't buy a permit then.
No.
You couldn't buy a permit then.
None of
right?
it, yeah.
So when you
But
fill
the
out
question would be,
application, as you enter and
Yeah.
upload your address, that's how it could be denied on that. So we could continue program as it is for residents that are currently eligible for the Central Business District. They'd be eligible for these permits based on the same parameters that are in the code now.
But there's also like an argument, and I'm not saying I'm in favor of this, where if you make a permit for Cedar Street for the year for any resident, like, I might do that and incentivizes me to park there because it's free versus paying for the meter every time I want to go to Readers or wherever. I mean, I'm not saying we have to do that now, but we could see how the lot's used and maybe
I
put
think
that out there.
really
at
no
some
one's
point.
using that parking lot, so if we
That's what I
find.
mean.
If we find ways to encourage people to use that and they get used to it, it also encourages more walking and,
Yeah.
I think it's just all good.
But Nicole's point is right, and we don't have the data to know this, so we should be looking at this
I think more
first
like
year
a pilot
as
program.
as a way to data capture,
right.
to find out what exactly the demand is and when the demand peaks, and I'm sure that the park mobile of it in one sense is gonna be a way that we get there. But is there a way, I maybe asked you this before and I feel like I got the answer that I didn't want, but is there a way that the license plate readers can log license plates even when they're not associated with sessions, so that we can see if there's like, a cohort of like, half of the Cedar Street lot is taken up with cars that are always there and never move?
No, I don't believe so. The way that license plate reader would work is that as the parking enforcement drives through, the cameras are recording plates. It's only going to alert the parking officer when someone is not paid. So otherwise,
But there's alerting the parking officer, and then there's, can it capture data in a database separate from
It would
that?
capture the license plate that had been read, and then based off of our retention policy, we would destroy, we're not keeping this information indefinitely. Give up.
Could we
Policy
hash
parts.
the plate numbers so that there's not anything personally identifiable about them, but just know that, same plate doesn't move from a spot for 6 weeks?
We wouldn't know
What
that
is-
it's.
what is your
moving
concern
from the
about
My,
spot.
my concern is just understanding the different kinds of demand
Okay.
that there are,
Wouldn't be
right?
able to capture that.
What's that?
We wouldn't be able to capture that because the spaces are not designated, so it's,
Right.
would be recorded.
Or in the lot. I mean, what I'm getting at is, we're taking away right now, the meter feeding option that some cohort of residents probably do during the day, a large number of merchants do during the day. And I'm just trying to think if there's a way, and it's all off the top of my head, so it's not necessarily the
that's
most coherent, right? But I'm trying to think of whether there's a way to capture data sufficiently to know which cohorts of parkers are using the lot
So
when.
Wouldn't we know, though, by the permits, that, like, if we'll know how many,
We would know who
Like-
purchased it.
right,
And I-
we
and
know
I
how many
think-
permits we sold to the
Their
businesses.
travel.
We
and
don't
how
know
many
whether they're
permits-
there in the last 2 hours of the day.
I think this is a tertiary question. We still don't have, we're still not paying for parking in Dobbs. So I think we should just solve for these higher order issues and then come back to these things as time goes on and we
Yeah.
see, I mean, we're.
agree.
We just have to make sure that,
We're gonna have this anecdotal information for us to come back and talk about, and the chief's gonna have some like real, like, what are the enforcement officers encountering on a day-to-day? And there's gonna be some more recommendations that come based on
right,
these things.
we're just gonna have to make it clear
Adjust.
that a permit is not a guarantee of getting a space.
Right, like we do at Waterfront.
Which we've always
That's
done.
always the case.
Right.
Yeah.
Same for Waterfront. We don't know if we're gonna get a spot. So
Sometimes
just,
they used
right,
to.
so
You're gonna
just,
need a complaint line.
so just so we can get this straight, it's $150 for Cedar Street for the first merchant permit, then $100 a year for additional permits for up to six.
I don't think the up to 6, I think that's arbitrary. I think different businesses
Whatever.
have different number of employees.
Why don't we start with 6 and see if businesses even want more? I mean, we can
fair
always
enough.
revisit.
Okay, so let's leave that, so we're okay with that, the pricing?
Say it again?
It says $150 a year for Cedar Street lot for the first merchant permit, then $100 a year for additional permits for up to 6 employees.
I mean, I would lower
And
that.
we're not selling a merchant permit then for the village lot or the lot behind Sushi Mike's.
Right.
I'm fine with it.
How would you feel comfortable, Sharon?
I would say that I would lower it to maybe 50 or 75, just because it could really add up for, like a restaurant that has 2, 3 bartenders and 10 waiters that come in, and,
Okay,
so.
are we okay with $75?
As long as we let them share it, then maybe they could work it out, but like any normal, Sam's, Harper's, whatever, they have 15 people working.
Yeah, I'm
20
okay keeping it low, because
Yeah.
Let's
the
look
goal
at
is
these as dash
Yeah.
hangers, though.
But-
75 is
But
fine.
this would be, these would not be tied to a vehicle. These would be just a
Tied
permit.
to a tab.
Yeah.
So that would be potentially,
Assuming what you're saying, you would have 15 people on shift at one time?
Right, but
Or-
not all, maybe not all of them drive here, not all of them need.
Right, so what I'm suggesting is if you're leaving it at 150 and then 100, you can switch them. Like the first shift is going home, the prep people,
That's
the
right.
line cook for
That's right.
brunch.
Right.
So you give your permit
Right.
to the next guy.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't know that lowering it to 75 assists in that way, because you're saying you have 150 and then 5 at 100 for the year to park for free, for free for your people.
Right,
And they can switch that to the next guy. The bartender that's on till 2 leaves, and the bartender coming on at 4 gets the permit.
So 75 or 100, like, let's table that. I think the
No,
chief has
We have to
a,
table it, let's just move it along. Let's just do 70, are we okay with 75?
but there's a functional issue here, I think.
Thank you, trustee Rutherford. Just so we understand, which, again, I'm fine with the tags. Those, because they would be swapped, they're not linked to plates.
Right, that's
So
right.
for the parking enforcement, we'd be enforcing by visual cues, meaning there's a tag or there's not. If there's not a tag,
Right, exactly.
issue the summons.
Right, and no
But we're
tag, you
not
get-
Tied to the LPR, just
So,
kind of how the functional.
so then would it be
aspect
possible
works.
for a car that didn't have a tag to park at 99 Cedar? So if I'm
Yes.
coming to Dobbs Ferry and I want to have dinner and I'm going to park there, do I pay?
Park
Yes.
Mobile
Yes.
or
So
the
you pay
kiosk.
Park Mobile?
Right.
Okay, so
Or
you
the
can always,
kiosk that
so
exists.
if you're coming in and you're only going to be there for a couple of hours, you may not even need to take somebody else's tag, some other employee, because they're going to be there the whole day, so.
Right.
So yes, so I think it should be, if it's something where you can easily say, like I know at my job, I have something hanging from my mirror so they know that I'm supposed to be in the parking lot, you know, so, yeah.
Okay, so then let's go to. Say that again, Margaret?
You're gonna want all of those people with hang tags together, because if they're interspersed throughout the lot, and that LPR goes through, he's gonna say that one didn't pay, that one didn't pay, that one didn't pay there.
But that's going to be impossible to do.
Yeah, it's gonna be impossible because people who aren't using it are gonna park wherever they want. So,
So you designate one area, you know.
No.
this
but we don't know how
stuff-
many people there's
Yeah.
gonna be.
What it's going to have to be is if it
Well, they have
pings,
the license plate
if
reader
it pings, the
is
license
there,
plate reader
right?
will say no license plate. If there's a
Right.
placard, the guy just has to move his neck. If there's no placard, then he gets out and he writes a ticket.
Right.
Yes, there will be more pings,
Yes,
but
We'll see how that
we'll
goes.
see how that goes,
Okay.
and I can report back.
So let's move up to that. I think we're kind of all in agreement here. Why should people have to pay money for the Oak Street and Village Hall? So can we consolidate that into,
yes.
right?
Yes.
Okay.
Please.
Got that?
What was that?
So we're not
I'm
gonna,
gonna have to drop the local law, so I just wanna make sure I'm.
right, so we're not gonna require people to buy separate permits for Oak Street and then a separate
double
permit
jeopardy.
for, Village Hall.
But back to my question earlier, this is for people who live on Cedar and Main and the Tree Streets only, and we're getting rid of the Central Business District permit and the residential parking permits, right?
No, I don't think we're getting rid of the residential parking permit.
Well, what's the
Wait,
difference?
wait. This, are they residential street permits? Like you can park on Oak Street? Or, I don't know where there are,
Just back off a second, because, I didn't mean to say back off, sorry. No, but like, because the emails we got from people were confusing to me, because some of them sound like they live on Cedar and Main, right? So they're talking about the Central Business District. People who have the residential permits now, can they park in Oak and Cedar Street lot, and the other lot?
Chestnut.
Chestnut?
No, their permits, the residential parking permit specifically.
Just for the side
home
streets.
rule. Yes, side streets. That enables them to park without time limits.
Okay, so that's gonna stay.
That is going to stay.
But those people will now also have the ability to buy this permit, or it's just gonna be for people living on Cedar and
I
Main?
mean, why would you buy both?
What about the people who live like
It's not in the
across from the
code, so no,
cookery?
currently
Like,
they're not entitled.
so that's not Cedar or Main, but those side streets that are off.
Yeah, but they're a tree street, so they get the residential parking permit. They-
Right, no, but I'm saying, but not on this side, but on this side. Like, so you could, like, if you lived on Chestnut Street on the other
Yeah,
side.
but I think it's the whole street of Chestnut. I don't think it's just the
Right.
top half.
or
So, okay, so then, I just wanna be
people
clear as
on
to who gets these
Palisades,
permits.
where They can just
Correct.
park
So
on
they
the
would have
street.
their permits, that's what they would be entitled to as a
They have a
residential.
residential.
Right.
That reside on those.
Okay, so they're separate, and then this new Oaken Chestnut lot permit would be just for people on Cedar and Main. Okay, I think that's fine.
Got it.
Chief, could you speak up or move closer to the mic, please?
Okay.
What's the cost? of-
Absolutely.
You wanna do that for still 150
What
or?
was the old Central Business District permit?
The resident was 115.25. The non-resident was like 132.75.
I don't think we
There's
should.
no non-resident.
The senior,
Okay, yeah.
yeah, and then the senior was 50, I think.
So we
This
could
is,
do a
this is
125?
not tiered. This is just gonna be one price
Okay.
for one, I'm asking, is that the recommendation?
Oh, the recommendation, yes.
Right, well, I would say 125 and you could park in both lots.
I agree.
Makes sense
Sounds
to me.
good.
Okay, so
Yes.
you got that?
Sold.
125, so there's one permit, Oak Street and Village Hall, that's not two separate permits. It's for residents, not merchants, and it's 125.
The only residents who live on Cedar and Main.
What used to be the central business district.
Right.
Central Business District included additional people like seniors and other, and merchants.
So the seniors, how are seniors being treated? They being treated any worse under this, or?
We got the kiosks.
Right.
We can't make like
Right.
umpteen special
but I'm
rules for
saying
seniors.
Almost senior, I'm
Hey,
gonna say.
what I'm saying is the senior, when I went to the seniors thing, they were concerned about having to pay full price. They say they get a discount now, is that true?
Do they?
But what they're getting, if I'm not mistaken, is a
Seniors.
central business district permit that says seniors and costs less, but it allows unlimited parking on Main and Cedar, which we're not doing.
Correct. So right now, we don't have a senior permit based off of previous conversations. So as of right now, the way it would look now is seniors would have to pay at the kiosk, or if they lived on Main and Cedar, they'd be entitled
How
to
ma-
the Oak Street or the 112 Main Street permit, and they could park there.
And there are some
There's
who
no
will be
time.
able to use Park Mobile. I am
How many-
already teaching my dad.
Yeah. How many seniors were buying the Central Business District each year?
I don't have that data.
I think that'd be important, because if it's like 50 people, I'd be inclined to give them a discounted, permit for those two lots.
Do seniors get discounted?
Right,
I mean,
but
I know
it's
you get
300.
discounted like parking
it's
down at the
different.
waterfront, right? Like in the rec spots, like in the.
Correct, yes, when they purchase the
And-
recreation sticker.
But then are we gonna give senior discounts to the merchants too?
Yeah,
So
forget it.
no, it wouldn't be to merchants, it would just be to like seniors, like, can you just find that out, chief, and then we can look at that
Absolutely.
again? Because
Yeah.
I think that it's something we could probably add on after we do everything.
Sure.
Right, because they were asking me about that.
Absolutely.
And a lot of them are on fixed social
No, I
security
get it.
budgets, yeah, I know, we're in the public meeting.
Okay, so did we answer every question that you guys have?
Chief, is there a way for Park Mobile, when you set up an account with Park Mobile, can you in any way register as a senior and get different? No?
No, there's not.
Okay, what are your concerns, Nicole?
No, I didn't have concerns. I had other things that we talked about, like, did it make sense? One, on Waterfront Park, were you opening the non-resident commuter to everyone or just Ardsley still? I don't mean you, I mean, what are you guys recommending? And then
I
obviously.
think we
we're
should
gonna
open it
decide.
up.
I think it should be everyone at this
Sell
point
as many as
too.
we can.
I agree, I'm
Yeah.
just,
Okay.
Yeah,
Changing
no,
it,
I'm just chiming in.
and then I had
Yeah.
the suggestion, and I guess.
Wait, can we just,
Yeah.
can we get everyone to weigh in on that, and then we can just move,
Yep,
because we keep,
yep.
Right,
Agreed.
okay, we're okay with that?
I'm okay?
Yep.
Everyone-
What's the question?
Yes.
Should we open up the waterfront parking to anyone who wants a permit? So there's two fees, there's resident, which is 500, and non-resident, which is 1,400?
Well, there's still a limited number of them, but it
Yeah,
used to be,
but,
it used to be exclusive to Ardsley.
yeah,
Right.
and we just, there's still, a lot of empty spaces, so if we open it up to other residents, we could maybe make some extra.
What do you mean, like people from other?
Like a
Yeah,
lot
like
of people
if-
from
Other than
Tappan,
Ardsley?
yeah, they come from Rockland,
They
they come
come
from New
from across,
Jersey.
yeah.
Right, so those people are paying $1,400?
Right.
Yeah.
So if more of them wanna pay $1,400, yeah?
And also we
Bring it.
limit that total number.
Yeah, okay,
So
I'm good
I
with
think
that.
it's a
We do
great
need
idea.
to limit,
Okay, so we're good with that.
hang on, we do need to limit the number though. We couldn't sell 5,000 of those.
Yeah, but
No,
we'll-
we agree. It should stay the same limited number it is now, but it should just be open to all non-residents, not just Ardsley.
But the question
I
is,
guess-
how does that interact with the day parking using Park Mobile? It can, anyone now can park with Park Mobile
That's true.
on a daily
That's true.
basis.
That is true.
Although we're giving that away, it needs to be,
I
it
agree,
should be
that was-
more expensive.
That
Yeah,
was another point I had. I agree with that.
it's $1 an hour?
I
A
think it
dollar
was-
an hour is unbelievably cheap.
Well, currently, it's based off of the
Village.
daily permit sales, so from 5 AM to 5 PM. It's a flat fee through Park Mobile, which is $5 for the day. However,
No, $10, I thought.
it's $5 during the commuting hours, so that 5A to 5P. So if because you cannot differentiate for those residents that wanted the
You really
daily.
mean $5?
Yes, because that is,
That's what I
that's
do,
what
so I
the
don't have to
daily,
go
That's
to
what
the
the
that's
city.
what the
Daily
daily
permit costs
commuter
to buy it
pass is
here.
for those residents that just wanted to go in for one day.
But it's
What
$10 if I go to
happens
the, if I come here and buy a permit, it's 10.
After, not what's sold at the counter for the dailies. What happens is after 5 PM, because we have so many layers of parking within that
Right.
daily permit, we have the non-daily resident fee. So that becomes $10 after 5 PM to 2 AM, Monday through Friday, which was done to allow non-residents to purchase it daily after the fact. So the way Park Mobile was designed is that should somebody go down to the train station Monday through Friday after 5 PM, the $10 charge triggers. And then it changes on the weekend, Saturday, Sundays, holidays, then it was $15 for the non-daily.
I think we should eliminate the daily permit and just make it be Park Mobile at a cost that we determine and no counter sales of daily.
Well, you still have to do that because you still have seniors and other that won't go in, that they'll only
Which
go into the
then
police
it's a
station.
We do have
senior
seniors
only
coming
thing.
in. We do have seniors coming into Village Hall.
Then that should be a senior-only permit.
Yeah, I mean, if it's Park
fine, I'm
Mobile
just
and you can
saying
just
it's
go
not
down
an
there and, I think we should make it like $3 an hour at least, and then, if you're there,
$3 an hour, that's like,
$3 an hour,
If-
what is the second?
If I understand the way it works now,
$40 a
or
park.
that, or you could buy a,
I use Park Mobile in the
You could buy a
Croton
what?
train
If
station
you're going into the
parking lot.
city once a month.
In the daily parking area, and it was $3 an hour.
where?
Croton train station.
Great, Croton, yeah.
It's the Village of Croton's daily
That's a
parking.
huge-
It's a kiosk. Yeah. And it's like the only safe place to park if you're going to be taking Metro North, because you can guarantee you'll get a spot. But their kiosk, it's $3 an hour with Park Mobile, and then in addition to that, a service.
All right, what do you guys suggest then?
So,
It's $1 an hour now.
so you're sort of undervaluing. the
We are
values of
undervaluing.
a
But we don't
closer
have
train-
the, we don't have the
close-
traffic that Croton has. We're not a
But
switching station.
you're undervaluing a closer train station. People might choose to come here if you were.
It's also,
Encourage commuters to buy the less expensive package,
Correct.
right,
That's true.
right?
You know-
So you have the only people that are gonna pay the $3 an hour are the people that are coming in that are not parking areas today.
Okay, but wait, there's only, you said 65, right? That's it, 65.
No, but I can be a resident, I don't buy a
No,
commuter
yeah, I'm
pass.
talking, I think you're suggesting that.
She's talking about Park Mobile in general. If I just wanna go use it, I can go park down there. A lot of my friends do this. They,
Right,
they
right.
commute, they don't buy a permit, the yearly permit, they just pay the Park Mobile fee for the day. That's all they do, and it's $8.
Right.
yeah, well, and if you have, I think if you have a rec sticker, you only have to pay till 5 o'clock, right?
Correct.
Because then
Correct.
you've got your rec sticker to carry you through
we
this.
need to talk about the rec stickers too.
Well, let's
Because,
finish this first.
well, they're all sort of interconnected.
They're not, we're gonna have a.
So how do we
fight.
feel about the hourly rate? Well,
I think the hourly rate for parking at the waterfront should be higher than for parking at the, in the downtown. I think we should have the daily parking sticker that you can currently come and buy for the windows, I think should be seniors only. I think everybody else, who doesn't have a commuter permit, should be paying, I don't know, call it $2, $3, whatever, should be paying a higher price for a waterfront parking experience. If it's an experience, it's not just a parking spot. And then if we think about the rec stickers and those spots, I don't think we should have the rec stickers anymore. I think you should just pay for for the hour that your kid's gonna be playing at the playground.
I like the.
I don't think that's the right way to go, because the rec stickers are a perk for village residents. It's $15 park, for a year. And to make people pay the same, $2 an hour to use their park, I don't think it's a great idea.
It's $10 a year.
All right, it's $10 a year, whatever it is.
Rec is
Okay.
10 for.
It should be 8 for years.
Then we've gotta keep those spots, those recs, those,
Okay, so let's do the hourly rate at Waterfront Park. What are you saying, Mike? Let's do you want to do $2 to make every, try how that goes?
This an hourly rate?
Yeah.
And that's double the rate on Cedar and Main.
Right. Shari?
I mean, when I was commuting into the city, you know, you pay your monthly ticket and it's worth every penny because you just have the, you know, now even when I worked in the Bronx and I went into the city more often, you know, it still was like, whatever it is, but it costs so much money. The Metro North ticket itself, it's $20 bucks or whatever, just to go
Oh, it's a
in.
lot.
And then if you have to pay another $20 to park your car, I think that's gonna hurt people. And I think that most people don't even know that you could park at the waterfront for $5. So if we raise that to, you know, $10 for the day or whatever, then, you know, people have the option if they're only going in for an hour or two. But a lot of times I'm going in and then I'm not coming home till late at night. And that's why I want to park there, because I feel safer getting off the train by myself and walking into, just going there than having to walk up the street. And so I don't think we should make it prohibitive, because we do have spots.
So it's $1 an hour now, so what do you think?
It's not, is it $1? It's $5 for the day,
Yeah,
so,
correct, yeah, no, it's currently Park Mobile, it's $5.
right,
For the day,
for the day.
yes.
Doesn't
I don't understand
it say?
Just $1 an hour, is that what you're
Just $1 an
recommending?
hour, be a park.
Recommending at least $1, yeah, that's the recommendation.
What is it
So
now?
that's an increase. The
But it's
dollar an
not
hour
a
is an
dollar an
increase.
hour.
Oh.
What is it
now?
It's $5 for the day,
That's
so I don't, so I think
different.
jumping to $3
I
an
get it, no,
hour.
I get it.
So
It says-
this
okay.
way, if it's a 10-hour limit and it's $1 an hour, you're paying $10, then that's fine,
Okay.
yeah. But I just think right now it's a flat fee,
Res-
which I didn't even know about.
Residents who go into,
My husband
residents who go into the city with any kind of frequency, the annual permit, if we keep it at $400, it's $8 a week.
Okay, so let's do $1 an hour, it's a little bit of an
Right.
increase. Okay, so that takes care of that. What was the next issue?
Seniors only, probably the same $5 that we're charging
Whatever
now.
we're charging now.
We're getting two?
$2.
$2. Seniors fly for two.
Well, I mean, I guess you can answer, when was the last raise? If it's been $2 for 20 years, do you want to make it $3? I mean, I don't know.
Let's leave it for
I
2.
mean, it's longer than the last 5 years, at least, we have not seen any changes.
Yeah, it's not a material change either way.
Okay, have we resolved every issue?
No,
Here's $3, is that what you?
No,
No,
$2. Leave it the same.
so,
I also had this suggestion of offering less expensive, non-resident commuter train parking at Cedar Street. Like, instead of paying $1,400 to park at Waterfront, you could pay $500 for the year, but you have to park at Cedar Street.
well, how do you differentiate that from, I guess,
We have a tag.
And that would be license plate.
But I think we should wait on that one and see
Agreed.
what the
Yeah.
usage at 99
That's
ends
fine.
up being.
So pushing it.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Because if it works the way we're all like, you know, desperately hoping it does, it'll be a pretty full lot.
That's fine, but if it's not, we should revisit it,
ends
because it's
up
another
being-
way to.
By the way,
increase
just-
money.
Need to evaluate it and then.
you can also
consider it.
there's a kiosk there. You can pay by the hour at that parking lot, right?
But part of the reason we put that residential permit
For
in
$1 an hour.
was because people were coming from Rockland and Jersey and parking on Palisade Street all day and walking down to the train. There are a lot of communities that do not have accessible trains or ways to get to, or like if you go to Pelham, it's like a wait list. Like Dobbs Ferry is like an anomaly that you can just move here and get a parking permit.
Okay, I think we should table that, because we all
Yeah,
see how
that's
that
fine.
goes. Okay,
Can I just go through and make sure I have everything right?
sure.
I got another thing though. A new thing.
Okay, last new
Is it
thing
an
for tonight.
esoteric thing, or is it a real thing?
It's not an esoteric
Okay.
thing. It's a real thing. This is like 6 months ago or so, the traffic committee sent Melissa a recommendation based on the enormous congestion of parking on Clinton, to make Clinton on both sides paid parking. And in order for that parking not to migrate onto the side streets, to make residential permits for those side streets. This is revenue for the village, material potentially revenue for the village based on all of the masters parking that's been going on. And protects residents with, we would need to do a home rule law.
What about the residents on Clinton?
So that
No.
means I couldn't park on.
Everybody on Clinton pretty much has a driveway.
All those townhouses right on those little townhouses on Clinton, when you first turn onto Clinton from wherever, what's that
They have-
called? Whitman, whatever.
Patty designed those, they have
Yeah,
parking spots.
they all have. Okay.
Yeah.
Could we put this on for like a discussion? Because I do
Yes,
think.
okay.
Yeah, because I'd like to go, I don't pass through there that often, so it's not immediately clear to me what the problem is.
I will, okay.
But I would like to know that.
You and I will drive in opposite directions on Clinton, and it will become
I think
apparent
we
to you
should have
immediately.
alternate side
Yeah.
on Bellwood Avenue, because every one of us has lost a side mirror from people dropping their kids off to school.
Okay, so we'll
let's just do
table this one.
Go ahead, Margaret.
So, no return to the same zone until you're gone for an hour.
Yes.
High Street and Palisade Streets will be enforced from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday to Friday.
Yes.
Residents are considered people who are currently eligible for central business district permits. Merchants and
Say that again?
residents are only the people who are considered to be eligible currently for central business district permits.
Oh, right, so the meeting.
Not everybody is
Right.
actually a resident and eligible for a resident permit. Only those people that are currently eligible for central business district permits.
Right.
No, that's not the right language. It
It's-
has to be
it's-
just residents of Cedar and Main Street, because right now merchants can get central district business permits and seniors can get central business district permits.
Right.
We should come up with a name that's, as opposed to resident permits, because
Residents of Cedar and Maine can get parking lot, Oak and
Yes.
Chestnut parking lot permits. Or parking lot permits, because they can also get the 99 Cedar.
Okay. Resident permits, which we're going to come up with a different name, is only for people who are currently eligible for central business district permits, with the exception, they can't be merchants and they can't be seniors. I mean, I'll word
Well, they
that
could
better
be
when I
seniors
write
if
it
they
out.
live there.
You can, I think it's very simple. It's that permit is for residents who live
Residents,
on
that's all we
Cedar
have
and
to say,
Main.
Right.
But it isn't.
Currently living in Cedar and.
Yes, it
It's
is.
just Senior and Maine.
Just Cedar and Main.
We don't want to exclude them right now, so I would just say everybody who's eligible. Say that
Current
again.
residents of Cedar and.
The people who are currently eligible for central business district permits, with the exception of merchants and seniors.
If you live on Hatch Terrace, why do you want a parking lot permit at Village Hall?
I thought Hatch had a special parking thing.
Does.
Like
It's
Palisades.
related to Walnut.
What
Residential.
happens in Draper Lane, though? They have that whole parking lot right there, right next to 99 Cedar.
We just had this conversation and we decided it was Maine and Cedar only. I think we should stick with that. And if there are other cases that we've left out, who raise their hands, like we should be prepared to reconsider it, but
Can we just say residents of the central business, of the downtown
That's
business
what,
district?
that's what she's saying, but they're saying
But
no.
hold on a second, why, if it's not a problem for those people to park there now, why would it become one, since, like, why, if I live on Hatch Terrace and I have a permit that allows me to park on the 112 Main Street lot,
right now you have that permit because it allows you to park at the bottom of Main Street, which is a half a block from Hatch Terrace.
okay?
That's why you might want to have that permit right now. Having that permit so you can walk halfway up, or more than halfway up Main Street to the Village Hall parking lot, that doesn't make nearly as much sense.
Go ahead, Rick, you have something?
Yeah, so
Have a
currently, the
speak here.
central business district permits is open to resident, non-residents, and it's homeowners of Maine, Cedar, Oak, Elm, Chestnut, Walnut, Draper Lane, Hudson Terrace, and Livingston Avenue. That is how it is.
Several of those have their residential street permits. So
Correct.
they should come off that list because they don't need the lots, they've got the streets.
Which one has the residential permits?
Oak, elm, chestnut, walnut.
Elm, chestnut, yes.
Hudson Terrace is that little side street off of Chestnut?
Yes.
I know it is, I'm just saying.
I hate to make a decision excluding people without,
Does it matter? Are we gonna sell so many of the permits to these people that don't live in this section that it's gonna make a difference?
I don't think so.
I would prefer to leave it the way it is.
Yeah, because we don't actually know that it's a problem. We're
Yeah,
just
maybe we're
assuming.
creating
Okay, you're
problem
right.
that isn't
If you
there.
live on Hatch right now, you might say,
It's not
I
Hatch,
don't
it's
need that
Hudson
anymore.
Let's leave it the way
Alright.
it is.
Come
So,
up with a different name so it's clear that like other residents can't buy it.
okay. All right, 99 Cedar Street is gonna be the only permit available for merchants and employees.
So the only hiccup to that is what if somebody has a handicapped or disabled
That's what I was saying, right.
employee? It's hard, it's a steep hill for them to get up from there. I don't,
Well, then you
Where are they
have
parking?
a separate tag for your
Handicap
vehicle.
parking
And
spaces.
you use one of the spots that are on Cedar or Main that are designated as such.
no, but if I'm an employee
Yeah.
and I work at whatever
You
store in
you
town, the
probably
chocolate
have a-
store, and I have an 8-hour shift,
Where are you parking now with that?
probably in the handicap spot on Cedar. And just feeding the meter all day.
That's a fair point.
Yeah, that's what I was asking before, but I,
Yeah, but then it got skipped over.
yeah.
Pardon?
Handicap or handicap? So if you're handicapped, you can park in the handicap spaces.
But it still has time limits.
Time limit.
Well, how do you exclude them on a Park Mobile basis?
Well, handicap spaces can have their own restrictions on Park Mobile.
You just want to make sure that you're leaving handicap spaces open for people who are visiting.
No, I agree. I don't think that's a good solution.
Right, but then they, if they're not parking a handicap spot that's designated with Park Mobile, then they wouldn't be paying for their spot.
Consider for that one, and it'd be license plate.
Right.
So how about, yeah, I mean, Nicole had an idea, if they have a handicap permit, maybe they could do an application to be able to park at the handicap lot back here.
Yeah, park here, and then it would be tied to that person's license plate.
Okay, let's do that, see how that goes.
So when it comes up, we'll figure it out.
Right. The Cedar Street lot fees for merchants will be $150 a year for the first permit, and then $75 for a year for the permits. After that, up to 6 permits. Those permits can be shared by employees. Oak Street and Village Hall lot will now become one permit, not 2 separate permits. They're going to be $125 a year for residents that live on Cedar and Main. Well, that goes back to the definition of resident. Chief, you're gonna find out how many essential business district permits are being purchased by citizens. Waterfront Park is gonna be $500 annual fee for a resident, $1,400 annual fee for a non-resident, which could be anyone. At Park Mobile, it's $1 an hour down there. Daily parking stickers will now be available to seniors only at a rate of $2 a day.
Okay.
That's everything?
Can I just ask one question? So that up to 6, could we just add something that if a business wants more than that, it's up to the, availability and discretion? So just in case there's somebody wants to buy 10, if Sam's wants to buy 10, then,
Patty says yes.
all right.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
So the only other thing that comes up all the time is the enforcement then, right? And so I don't know what we're doing about weekend enforcement and, I know you have certain parking enforcement officers if they're open to a staggering of their schedules, but we don't have to necessarily discuss it tonight, but it needs to get, figured out in the next few weeks, I think, how that's gonna be handled going forward.
And when will these kiosks be here?
2
You guys
weeks.
told me,
weeks.
you guys told me the end of December.
Yeah, I thought it was supposed to.
Yes, that's correct. We are
It's December 15th, 2023.
waiting on the vendor. When I last spoke to him, beginning of the end of the week prior, Friday, he's awaiting, they're converting the modems to AT&T from Verizon just to make sure that they are, No. Jeff, help me?
No, no.
Was it the one, was it the?
We were talking about it, but we're gonna stick with Verizon.
Oh, okay. So it's, it is on his schedule. ITS has said to me that as of 9 days ago, that it would be in this week now.
They had told us in the past that they had shipped already.
They did ship, they have them, it just has something to do with the programming, is what they're telling me. So it's a matter, I guess, if they stay true to what they've said to me, that they would be installed this week, we would have them bagged, pending your approval to start the enforcement and get the proper messaging out to the residents.
Yeah, because we're losing money every day. Maybe a lawyer letter in a couple of weeks? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
We need to do to put this on the books so we can enforce it.
Right.
Oh, yeah,
We'll-
right,
We'll make it happen.
okay. All right, let's move on to the courtesy of the floor. Anybody for courtesy of, seriously?
I thought you were just interested in parking.
Actually, what I would like is to offer a carte blanche, like for $1,000, I can park anywhere I want.
Sure. Is it 3 minutes running?
Yes.
It's running.
This is quick. First, I want to commend the, trustee Patino's success in getting the last matter with Gould Park in front of the planning board and getting planning board contribution. I think that's a huge benefit for the village that they should have been doing for the last 30 or 40 years. I think it really makes a difference. I think it's wonderful. Second thing, kind of following from the success of the parks, my 4-year-old grandson, who is an expert in playgrounds, had the opportunity to enjoy Gould Park this past Sunday, and he decided that it is the best park he's ever played in.
Nice.
Ah, that's awesome.
Drop the mic, that's all we need to know.
Anybody online? Okay, good. So let's move along. So is there a motion to give conditional site plan approval to 10 Hamilton Avenue? Trustee Patino, second. Trustee,
He wants it
Hamilton
avenue,
Street.
but it's street.
oh, that's right. He wrote Hamilton, the resolution says Hamilton Avenue, I just want you to know.
Okay.
Hamilton Street, trustee Patino, second, trustee Rosen Asher, all in favor. That passes 6-0. Is there a motion to approve and accept the financial statements prepared by BST and Company? Trustee Rosen Asher, second, trustee Patino, all in favor. That passes 6-0. Is there a resolution? Oh, okay. Is there a resolution regarding the annual fire department service award? So we do have a resolution from the fire department and from the ambulance corps, where every year they add up the amount of points that the members have earned, depending upon the number of fires or calls they attended. We do have that from each of the departments. We have that available to review. So I'd just like to have a motion regarding the annual fire department service award points. Trustee Patino, second. Trustee Rosenberg, all in favor. That passes 6-0. Same for is there a motion to consider the annual Dobson Volunteer Ambulance Corps Service Award points? Trustee Sullivan, second. Trustee Patino, all in favor. That passes unanimously. I just want to thank all the volunteers for the service that they've done, and we appreciate them going forward, continue to donate the time that they have. Is there a motion to approve the audit of claims as submitted by the village treasurer? Trustee Rosen Asher, second. Trustee Patino, all in favor. That passes unanimously. I'm adding to the agenda.
This is what I thought I was working.
Resolution authorizing certain actions by the New York State Department of Transportation in connection with the resurfacing and repainting project along Route 9. Trustee
I'll be the motioner for that.
Rosenberg, second. Trustee Patino, all in favor. That passes unanimously. What I'd like to do is waive the trustee liaison reports and announcements for tonight, and I'd like to have to adjourn this or just close it.
Close it.
Is there a motion to close tonight's meeting? Trustee Rosen Asher, second. Trustee Patino, all in favor. Meeting is closed.